You're listening to the Ranger Football Podcast, brought to you by Southern Trading and Pawn and The Slab in Roland.
Okay. Oh, so the red light's on, and we are live. Ranger football fans, welcome back to another episode of the Ranger Football Podcast. Apparently, we went live when I didn't even realize it, and so the red light came on right at the last. You guys have to put the music in my headset. That way, I know what's going on. I don't need just like a. Anyway, we'll work that out. Today is Tuesday, September 26th in the year of 2017. It is about 11:01 in the a.m., and this is shaping up to be another great week for Roland Ranger football. We will talk about the high school team. We've got a game in Stigler coming up on Friday. That's going to be a tough contest, and so we'll talk about some of the statistical categories that we're looking at with the Stigler. What are they, the Panthers? Is that what Stigler is? I don't know about the rest of you, but I played my very last high school baseball game in Stigler back in the year 2000. I know it seems like a long time ago now. But, yeah, played my very last high school baseball game there, and I was ejected from the game. I was called out on a horrible strike three call. It was a game that determined which team was going to go to the playoffs that year, I believe, or the district tournament. And terrible. It was terrible. I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. I'll always remember getting ejected from my last high school baseball game. But, man, was I upset. Everybody was upset. It was terrible. So here's the deal. We're going to broadcast this game live on Inside Fort Smith and OklahomaSports.com. And this is going to be my very first time going back to Stigler since the great ejection of 2000. And so I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be kind of like a reunion for me. But we're not going to talk about baseball. Baseball's not going to be the subject. We're going to talk about football. We've got Stigler. They are 5-0. Yes, they are the Panthers. Okay. So what I was doing was I was wondering if they had changed mascots in the 17 years since I've been not playing sports in Stigler. So, but they have not. They're still the Stigler Panthers, and I still don't like them. Their colors are still red and white, and their coach is Chris Reisenhoover. I'm looking at their Max Preps website, which is where we're going to get their stats. In the state of Oklahoma, in our class, they are ranked 66th in the state. Stigler is. They're 5-0. Their record this season for football, and they've got some pretty decent stats that we're going to talk about, things that we're going to have to look out for, and we're going to have to hope for the best. So as I mentioned, the high school team was on a bye week this past week, so it's going to be kind of interesting to see how we have shaped up. I know the Keys game, the last game we played with Keys, it didn't work out very well with us, and from what I understood, our quarterback, Eli Dalton, came out of the game with a concussion. I saw a picture of him on Facebook where he had to visit the hospital. And so I'm hoping Eli's okay. Also, L.J. Williams, I'm hoping that we see him get some reps in the game as well. We haven't seen him run the ball in quite a while, and so I'm hoping everybody's okay as far as the injuries go. But it'll be interesting to see how we've worked our offensive line. I know we've needed to tighten up. I've talked about it time after time on the show. We've needed to tighten up just a hair. And, as far as the communication goes on the line, there's a lot of things that we've needed to work on. And number one, in order to protect our quarterback, that's another thing we talked about was the amount of times that our quarterback had carried the ball, and the loss of yards for his total. So it'll be interesting to see how Coach Strine and the coaching staff have utilized the bye week. Knowing them, they've probably worked on a lot of things that need to be addressed. They probably watched a lot of game film. Since we have 4 games under our belt right now. We do have a 1-3 record. The Rangers are 1-3. In case you have been keeping up, you know that. If you haven't, then you're going to hear it right here for the first time. But we've got a chance to bounce back. We've got a chance to add another win and put a blemish on Stigler's record. That 5-0, that perfect season they've got going so far, halfway through the season here. So it'll be interesting to see what we can get accomplished in Stigler this Friday. I want to remind everybody we are live, as always, all the time on Spreaker.com. You can also subscribe to us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Stitcher Radio, and iHeartRadio. If you have the iHeartRadio app, you can subscribe to us on there. Just type in Ranger Football Podcast. You can pretty much do that on everything. You can do it in iTunes and Google Play. Also, if you're on Facebook, go to your search bar and type in Ranger Podcast Network. That is the official network page on Facebook for what we do here for the Ranger Football Podcast. And it will also most likely be the home of the Ranger Basketball Podcast. That's another thing that's shaping up here at the network. So we've got a lot of stuff on the horizon. We'll talk more about that as the football season goes on. So go ahead and type in Ranger Podcast Network and like that page. I do want to give a shout-out to Miss Connie Lewis. Connie was the 300th like on the Ranger Podcast Network page just a few days ago. And so we appreciate all the support from all the people. I know I've told you guys we have between 600 and 700 listeners on average every week for the Ranger Football Podcast. And so now we've got about half that number. People who have liked the page, and so it'll spread word of mouth. And I know when basketball season rolls around, the page will get a lot more likes, and there's a whole different crowd for basketball season. I know that there's a lot of the same people who love football. They love basketball too, but we will get a lot more likes when the basketball season rolls around. So that's something we'll keep an eye on. Also, I want to remind everybody the Ranger Football Podcast app on Google Play. If you have an Android phone, you can go to your Google Play Store, type in Ranger Football Podcast. You can download the app. That app is sponsored by Southern Trading and Pawn. They are located at 4621 Towson Avenue in Fort Smith, right on the corner of Towson and Phoenix. Stop in and see Vernon and the crew for all your trading and pawn needs. If you have questions about anything you may want to take there or things you might want to buy there, who knows? You might have things that you want to pawn or sell or trade or whatever you want to work out. Call Vernon at 479-434-4830. Excuse me. I'm still kicking this upper respiratory thing. I don't know about the rest of you, but like the temperature change hasn't even hit yet. And I'm already having a rough time. And it seems like the older I get, I know it's not old to some of you people, but I just turned 36. But this is the oldest I've ever been. So that's the only reason why I make reference to getting older, because I've never been this old until now. But it seems like the older I get, I just start getting sick. Like every time I turn around, there's something. I'm kicking something. So this upper respiratory thing needs to go. I know the temperatures, like maybe tomorrow, are supposed to start getting cooler. And so I don't know. We'll deal with that head on. So if you think you're going to get sick because of the temp change, you probably are. It's a bad transition every year. So I don't have a good doctor's office to recommend. I could recommend my own, but I don't think they're taking walk-ins or new appointments. So I'm not going to go ahead and do that. So back to Southern Trading and Pawn. There's no doctor at Southern Trading and Pawn unless you want to go see Dr. Vernon. He is the pawn doctor. Go and see Vernon and everybody out there. They've got a ton of great stuff. If you're in the market for a brand new electric guitar, or brand new in your life, these items are gently worn. But go see Vernon for anything you might need. 479-434-4830 is the phone number out there. Also, if you want to get some of the best barbecue on this side of the river, and you have an Apple device, and you want to go to your Apple App Store and type in Ranger Football Podcast, that app is sponsored by The Slab in Roland. The Slab is located at 104 South Roland Road, and I'm telling you, the barbecue there is absolutely off the chain. They're open 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Sunday, and the Slab trailer is also open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Wednesday through Friday. They will be open tomorrow, so if you're like me and you have a good hankering for some barbecue right now, just wait till tomorrow. Well, I mean, you go to the Slab right now. You can do anything you want when you walk in the store. But the trailer will be open tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. So it's a beautiful thing. Also, catering is available by request if you have any questions, you want some more information, or if you want to place an order for catering or just to eat. Call 918-503-6531. How about that? That's how we do that. So that knocks our apps out of the way. Those are the people who sponsor our apps that we have for Apple and Google Play. That really makes a lot of this easier. I'll be really honest with you. Looking at our stats page, all the stats are logged. There are a lot of people who just listen from Facebook clicks when they see the podcast episodes come up each week, except for last week because we had a bye. They just click from Facebook, and all that stuff gets logged. IP addresses, locations, everything. We have a couple of listeners overseas who I've mentioned before. We've got Dave Wade from Bristol, England. If you can go to YouTube and like his YouTube channel, Lawn Boys Post 1975. He's had me do some voiceover stuff for him. And so also Michael Burhan, a good buddy of mine from London, he listens on occasion when he gets an opportunity. And so, I mean, we can be heard worldwide. The Ranger Football Podcast, when I say it's worldwide, it's absolutely worldwide. You can listen to it anywhere, from anywhere, any time of the day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, and the people who also make that happen, the Ranger Football Podcast is also brought to you by Mantees Casual Wear, focused on the adolescent male of all ages, and by Mayrays for casual wear with a more feminine touch. That one's for the ladies. Custom orders are welcome. You can follow both lines on Facebook or simply go to man-tees.com. And even though football season is still going, you can still use the promo code Rangers for 20% off all your orders. Beautiful part about that. Also, the Center Street Parlor, located at 1731 West Center Street in Greenwood, Arkansas. They're open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to just whenever they finish. For more information or to schedule an appointment for your next tattoo, call Fernie or Isaac at 479-252-6274. And I do want to give a special shout-out to Lewis Heating and Air Conditioning. I don't know if you guys have a good heating and air people out there or a good heating and air person. But old Mike Bean stopped by and worked on my unit out here. My wiring just got ripped out of my unit on the outside. I still don't know what that's about, but it's been fixed. So I got a hold of Doze. Everybody knows Doze. I got a hold of him on Facebook, and I said, hey, man, a few people recommended you guys to me, and so I need some help. And so I think he had somebody out here Mike Bean came out here within 45 minutes of me placing the call. And this was first thing in the morning, so that tells you how quick they work. So you can find Lewis Heating and Air Conditioning on Facebook. They have a Facebook page at A Lewis HVAC. Or if you need them to come see you, call 479-629-0560. It's as simple as that. And I promise you, they will produce results. They'll get things done for you right away. Mr. Bean had, I shouldn't call him Mr. Bean. That's terrible. Mike Bean had my air back up and running in a matter of no time. It was blowing cold, blowing hard. It felt great. In fact, about 20 minutes after it got going, I started getting a little chilly, so I had to turn it up just a hair. But call Lewis Heating and Air Conditioning if you need anything done, just a regular service or, I don't know what all they do with heat and air. I know they can recharge your system and stuff like that. I know we've got fall coming up, lower temperatures, so you may want to get your heaters checked out and serviced and ready to go. I know how everybody usually, when you flip your heater on for the first time, when it gets cold, you start smelling something burning. Everybody starts getting scared. You think your house is going to catch on fire. Call Lewis Heating and Air Conditioning. Have these guys come out, check the thing out, and make sure. Just give you a little bit of peace of mind. And that's how we'll go from there. So that's that. We've ran through our sponsors. We appreciate everybody for making this show happen. Also to you, the people who are listening live right now. We have 67 people 64 people now. We just had 3 drop off. They probably have bad connections. Or they could have bad connections. I don't know. 60 back up to 66. We have that many people listening live as we speak. And so I really, really appreciate that. That's a lot for a Tuesday morning. That's a ton of people listening live. I know it doesn't sound like very many, but you have to understand this is a small town. This is not a big 6A school. So, 60-something people listening live is a great thing, and no doubt the numbers will shoot up after the episode publishes, to the archives. Anybody will be able to look this up. All right, going to the business at hand. First things first, we want to talk about this past week. In fact, I need to open up a new tab in my browser. This is the beautiful part of doing a live podcast. And so what I want to do is I'm going to open up a new page in my browser here. And so we're going to go to Roland Youth League Football. If you're on Facebook, go up to your search bar. Please load. Okay, here we go. Now we're loading up. Go to your search bar, type in Roland Youth League Football, and please like the page. I think we're pushing 600 likes on that page. I'm not really sure. I'm going to have to get on it and look. So I'm clicking right now. And I'm doing that just to bring the scores up because I did not write the scores. We had the Panama Razorbacks come to town this past weekend, and so we saw the homecoming that I mentioned. We also saw 2 out of the 3 Ranger teams win. The 3rd and 4th grade and the 5th and 6th grade won pretty handily. The first and 2nd grade team, that was a nail-biter all the way down to the finish. I'm telling you, our 1st and 2nd grade team lost it within the last, I think, minute and a half of the game. That score was 13-12. But we do, I believe now we've got a number 3 seed in the playoffs for the 1st and 2nd grade team. So, we're still going to the playoffs. They still have a shot at the Super Bowl. And so, no worries there. No sweat there. I mean, we did lose our number 2 seed this past weekend, but that's okay. That's okay. These kids play hard each and every week that they go out there, and so they do have a lot of ground that they can make up on. We have 586 people who like the Roland Youth League Football page. So type in Roland Youth League Football in your search bar on Facebook. Go ahead and like that page. We need 14 more people to make it to 600. 600 likes. That's some pretty good traffic. This page has been up for a few years now. So go like the page. It's as simple as that, folks. Show your support for Roland Youth League Football. And they are at Roland Youth League Football on Facebook. You can just type in facebook.com/Roland Youth League Football if you want to. Also, the winner of the big grand prize for the fundraiser was Tim Gann. It was a Tundra 65. It is the most popular Yeti cooler. And, the best one on the market, I think. It may not be the biggest one. I don't know. So the 13-12 was our 1st and 2nd grade team. Then just reading from the official Facebook page of Roland Youth League Football, the 3rd and 4th grade boys cruised to a 37-6 win, and the 5th and 6th graders followed suit with a 34-13 win, all against the Panama Razorbacks. Be sure to follow us to Muldrow next week as our regular season ends with Rivalry Week. And then, of course, at the end of this, we want to thank all the parents and players who sold raffle tickets to make the fundraiser another huge success, and to Tanya Price for all her hard work and dedication she puts into making our homecoming ceremony a spectacle to behold. See you in Muldrow. So that's what we've got going on as far as Roland Youth League Football is concerned. I've had a lot of people ask, I do not have a total for the fundraiser. I don't know how much money was raised for the fundraiser. What I do know, what I have been told by Youth League Director Anthony DeWitt, is that last year's a donation for to the Roland High School Quarterback Club, the high school booster club for the football team, will be matched. That $6,000 donation will be matched from last year. So That's huge. I don't know if everybody understands what that's all about. I don't know if people think we just make millions of dollars with these raffles, but we don't. Making $6,000 to donate to somebody else, that's a huge sum of money, especially for a youth league organization. So that is a big, big deal. So if you see our youth league director, Anthony DeWitt, if you see our cheer director, Tanya Price, if you see them around town or at the next football games, just say thank you to them, because you guys have no idea how much work went into this. And homecoming was a beautiful ceremony. We had our photographer took some excellent pictures. I know those will be coming out at some point. I don't have details on that, but that's how we're going to do it. So nail-biting loss for the first and second grade team. Third and fourth grade boys won 37-6. Huge win for our third and fourth grade team. We've seen some struggles out of them, but they just blew it out of the water on Saturday. And then, of course, the fifth and sixth grade Rangers, 34-13 over Panama on the back of Ashton Peters again. What a workhorse that kid is. He also walked in homecoming, and so that's a good thing. So that's what we've got going on as far as I told you guys we're going to try to keep this short and sweet. Where are we at on time? Short and sweet. We're already past the 21-minute mark, so we're creeping up on a half hour. There's not a lot to talk about with the high school team. I told you guys we came off a bye week last week. We did not play this past Friday, so there's no game stats to go over. I'm not going to touch the Keys game because that's water off a duck's back at this point, and we did not come out on top, but we're going to try to bounce back against Stigler. As I mentioned, Stigler is 5-0. They are ranked 66th in the state as far as teams in our class of play. Now, they do have a couple of people throwing the ball for them, Oldham and Turrentine. One is a backup quarterback. Oldham is a backup quarterback. He is a freshman, but he's getting some reps in. Their quarterback, Turrentine, is a senior. I think he's number 2 in the books. So as far as anybody throwing the ball, keep your eyes on number 2. He has played in all 5 games so far. He has thrown 77 passes. He has completed 49 of those passes for 900 yards. He has a 636 completion percentage. His average pass is 18.5 yards. Yards per game, 180. 180 yards a game is through the air. So I know that may not sound like a lot, but for high school football, it absolutely is. So he's throwing at least a touchdown. He's got 5 touchdowns. He's throwing at least 1 per game. The problem is he's got 4 interceptions. He's got 4 interceptions all year, so this kid can be picked off. So I know that we have seen, some good picks. What did we have? I think in Spyro we had Jacob Cantrell picked a good one off, and then we had Julius Plummer picked one off when he was playing on defense. And so we've got people who can sniff out the ball on the other side of it, some of the same people we see on offense. And so there's a lot of things we can do here. I'm going to try to go to the team totals, and we're going to try to look at some of these stats on team totals. Again, we're doing this live. So I am having to wait on some of these pages to load. I've got 100 things brought up on this computer. So let's look at passing. I mentioned there have been, altogether, there's been 79 passing attempts by the team, 49 completions, 900 yards. Let's see, completions per game. So he's got about 10 completions per game, so there's not a lot going on through the air. They've had 5 passing touchdowns through all 5 games, so that's 1 a game. Let's look at where is rushing. Okay, here we go. 196 carries for 1,583 yards. That's 8.1 yards per carry. They're averaging 316 rushing yards per game. That's what Stigler's doing on the ground. That is a ton. So I've mentioned this before. I'm going to mention it again. Our defense, if we can get our line to tighten up, if we can get our ends to pay a little closer attention. I know we've seen a lot of runs go around the ends, but if we can tighten up on those ends, if we can shift a little extra, you guys know the name Javen Bray. Javen Bray is averaging more tackles on the team than everybody else combined. Everybody else combined. So I don't know what Javen Bray is doing. But he's doing something right, and I'm hoping that everybody else on the team can get on board with Javen. Hopefully they've watched enough game film to see where Javen's going and what he's doing, and I've been told that it's almost like Javen knows where the ball is going before it even goes there. Got to sit in the press box with a couple of kids who play for the high school football team. I sat with them on Saturday at the youth league games, and they said that Javen is just, they don't know how he does it. And I said, well, whatever he's doing, y'all need to tap into it. Just tap into what he's doing. Just pick his brain. Figure out what he's got going on up there to where he knows where the ball is going. So he's got a ton of tackles. I think over 30 a game. I think the next highest we had was somebody had 9 tackles a game. So, I mean, Javen Bray is a beast out there. So our defense, we've got to figure out what's going on in the mind of Javen Bray and tap into that so that we can get these rushing yards contained. Stigler's running 316 rushing yards per game. They have 5 rushes of 100-plus yards. I mean, that's crazy. How do you even do that? You start at the end zone, and we cannot give up the entire football field. That Roland Ranger football, we've got to tighten up on defense, and we've got to figure out how to stop this score. They've got 27 rushing touchdowns through 5 games. So Stigler is stout, guys. They are 5-0 for a reason. And some people have said, man, you know, can you make our team sound better on the podcast? It's not that I'm trying to make anything sound bad, but these are real football teams that we're playing against. These are real stats that we're coming up against, and we've got to figure out a way to stop these people. We have to figure out a way to stop these teams. So, you know, when you've got 27 rushing touchdowns per game, that's what Stigler is putting on people. That means that the defenses they've played have not been able to contain them. So we have got to contain them. And we've got the rest of the week to work. We've got the rest of the week in practice. This episode obviously is coming out today. I mean, it's only Tuesday. So, you know, I'm trying to drop some little nuggets of information. I don't know how many people have the stats here on Stigler. But you can go to maxpreps.com. You can type in Stigler. You can click on their varsity football team. And this is where you can find all this information. They're all-purpose yards per game, 1,583 rushing yards, 881 receiving yards, 120 kickoff return yards. They have 75 punt return yards, 23 interception yards. That's another thing. They've got four interceptions on defense. So it's not quite one per game. So they can pick off some passes if we. I'm gonna tell you guys something. If our offensive line doesn't tighten up, if we don't give Eli Dalton enough time to throw the ball, they are going to get to him. Okay, that's not what we need to happen. We do not need people. I think they're averaging. I don't know, what do they have? I don't see his total on sacks. They don't have a total on quarterback hurries. So I don't know how they're rushing the quarterback, but I know that we have got to get together on that offensive line, and we have got to stop these defenses. I know, especially with the Sequoia game, we saw Sequoia, they ran a blitz nearly every play. Nearly every single play that we had on offense, Sequoia ran a blitz. And we didn't always do the best to stop that blitz. But we have got to give our quarterback the time to throw the ball. And we got to keep him from getting killed back there in the backfield. That's our number one job for you guys on the offensive line. Your number one job is to protect the quarterback. And whoever your check down receiver is, or whoever your fullback is, or whoever stays in the backfield, you're the last line of defense on blocking. So if somebody does break through with a blitz, that's your man right there. So, you know, that's one thing we've got to do is we've got to figure out how to stop these people from getting to our quarterback. So, you know, Stigler is pretty impressive. They've done a lot of things so far. They've got 33 total touchdowns. I'm looking for tackles per game. I'm not seeing that, but you know, looking at their games, I'm going to try to check and see who all they've played. Let's see. They played Westville in their first game. They won that 54-13. Stigler hasn't scored less than 39 points in a game. Think about that for a second. So Less than 39 points, they have not done that yet. So that is something that we need to try to contain them to less than 39 points. Obviously, we need to try to keep them as close to 0 as possible. But they do have the capability to put up some big points. So Westville was their first game. They won 54-13. Let's see. Their second game on September 1st was Hartshorn. They won that 42-7. On September 8th, they beat Sallisaw 39-24. Sallisaw is never an easy task, no matter what they're doing. If they're having a great season or rebuilding, Sallisaw is always pretty stout. They won 39-24. On the 15th of September, they beat Spyro. Now, we beat Spyro too, but they put up more points on Spyro than we did, and of course they still allowed more points, but we still came out on top for Spyro. But on September 15th, Stigler beat Spyro 43-38. And then on September 22nd, they beat Haskell 48-12. So they're handing people some pretty decent losses. Their closest game so far was Spyro, just about a 5-point win over the Bulldogs there. But now they've got us coming up. So the Roland Rangers are back in full effect, coming off a bye week. And we're hoping we can stick it to the Panthers. So I don't know if there's going to be a pep rally. We're going to go ahead and wrap the show up for the day. Don't know if there's going to be a pep rally. Haven't really talked to anybody about that. I don't get a whole lot of information on what goes on before Friday happens. So I don't know if that's going to be a big ordeal. I don't know if it'll be held on the football field. I do know that the temperatures are going to be a whole lot cooler coming up. And so I don't know what the weather's going to look like for Friday. I suppose I could look real quick. I think it's only, like right now, it's only 70 degrees. Well, about 74. But that's a Tuesday morning. So I know temperatures are starting to go down. Let's see, daily. Let's look at daily. Friday, there's a high of 82, a low of 56. No call for rain whatsoever, so that is perfect. I know Thursday that we're going to only see highs in the 70s, so that's going to be a beautiful thing. I'm ready for fall. I don't know about the rest of you. I mean, I know it's supposed to be already past the first day of fall, but these 90-degree days can take a hike. I'm going to try to keep this upper respiratory thing in check as best I can and deal with the temperature change, and I know a lot of you other folks are going to be doing the exact same thing. I'm not the only one in America who has a problem with the temperature change. So now, running back through everybody, I want to thank again Lewis Heating and Air Conditioning. Visit their Facebook page at @LewisHVAC or call them at 479-629-0560. Also, the Center Street Parlor located at 1731 West Center Street in Greenwood, Arkansas. You can call Fernie or Isaac at 479-252-6274. Also, go to man-tees.com, or you can follow Man Tees Casual Wear and Mayrays on Facebook for the ladies. And also, remember your promo code, 20% off if you type in Rangers. That's your promo code there. Also, once again, as always, a big thanks to the Slab. They've sponsored our Ranger Football Podcast app on your Apple App Store. Call 918-503-6531 for catering or to place an order. They are open 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. today because today is Tuesday, so that falls in the Monday through Saturday category. And for our Ranger Football Podcast app on Google Play, sponsored by Southern Trading and Pawn. Just tell Vernon and the crew out there thanks for sponsoring this. 479-434-4830 if you want to talk to the fine folks at Southern Trading and Pawn. So the game, 7 p.m. is what it's scheduled for. I know our youth league, as far as the high school goes for Stigler, our youth league is scheduled. This is rivalry week. We're ending the youth league regular season games in Muldrow this week, so that's not going to be a huge trek down the street. So those games are going to start probably about 10 o'clock in the morning, just like they do when they're at home. So, excuse me, make sure you get a chance to stop by Muldrow on Saturday and see the youth league football games. Now, the high school in Stigler on Friday night. We are not at home this week. I believe we do have another home game coming up. Don't have the schedule right in front of me, because my only priority is Stigler. We will be at Stigler. 1111 Northwest 7th Street in Stigler, Oklahoma. That is where this place is located. So make sure you put on our orange and black. Do not wear anything red and white because those are the Stigler Panthers colors. As I mentioned, this will be my first time back in Stigler since I was ejected from my last high school baseball game. That was probably in March or April somewhere of the year 2000. So this is going to be an exciting return for me. Not really. But it is going to be nice to be able to broadcast this game live on Oklahoma Sports and Inside Fort Smith. We'll have links posted so that everybody can find that, and you can listen if you're not able to go to the game. I know my friend Amy, she's not going to be able to go to the game again because Stigler is too far of a drive, and that's okay. We will have enough Ranger pride there for everybody. So we'll have the link up, and until we have more information, probably next week, around next Tuesday, we're going to put the podcast out again. If we decide to wait until Wednesday, I'll let everybody know on the Ranger Podcast Network page, or somebody will let you know. Who knows? Maybe me. But until that time comes, stay safe, Rangers, and we will see you right here next week on the Ranger Football Podcast.
You're listening to the Ranger Football Podcast, brought to you by Southern Trading and Pawn and the Slab in Roland.